And for more on this decision, I'm joined by Mark Claxton, a former NYPD detective and the director of the Black Law Enforcement Alliance. Mark, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So you just heard Alex talking about Louisville's ban on no-knock warrants after this incident. Having been a detective yourself, what do you make of that?
Well, I've been involved in hundreds of no-knock warrants during the course of my police career. And I can tell you that it's quite clear and evident that across the nation, the use of no-knock warrants is being abused by law enforcement. Listen, I think we're at the point where we have to come to the realization that no-knock warrant applications should be denied with the exception of a few narrow list of qualifiers that are solely based on focusing on preservation of human life. A no-knock warrant shouldn't be used or approved or applied for in order to prevent evidence destruction, and it's got to be limited to minimize the risk of a well-established, evidence-based threat to officers or civilians. And the court system's got to start to monitor the application and approval of these search warrants to identify patterns of abuse.
Based on your law enforcement experience, can you explain why an officer would be charged for firing into a neighbor's apartment with no line of sight, but no one charged for firing into Breonna Taylor's home and ultimately killing her?
It's a failure of the system. It is what people have been complaining about. Black people have been complaining about the value of Black life. It's not only a failure to indict the officers or the killers who operate under the color of law. It's an indictment, in a sense, on Blackness of just the right to be. The Castle Doctrine doesn't apply to Black people, apparently. The protection from unreasonable search and seizure, the Fourth Amendment, doesn't apply to Black people, apparently. Even the four walls of our homes can't protect us from extrajudicial killings. It's a failure of the system that needs to be corrected.
It sounds like in this case a lot hinges, as Alex said, on that question of whether police announced themselves or not. It sounds like they have a witness saying they did, but there's some discrepancy there. So we know this case is playing out federally now, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. But I'm curious, based on what we know now and how this has played out so far at the more local level, do you think anything needs to change in the judicial process with how these kinds of cases are conducted?
Absolutely. There needs to be an increase in transparency. Listen, for decades, there's been this conversation in different parts of the country and different movements that have called for even this grand jury process to be more open and transparent. It's hard to really analyze what went wrong in the system, and something obviously did go wrong because Breonna Taylor is dead and no one is held accountable for that death. It's hard to determine what went wrong when the process is so secretive. We need to have public, open grand jury process so you could begin to see how the case was presented. Because the devil's in the details. You get the outcome as a prosecutor based on your presentation to the grand jury. It's been said many years ago by former Judge Saul Walker in New York, you can indict a ham sandwich. You can indict that ham sandwich if you choose to indict that ham sandwich.
All right, former NYPD detective and director of the Black Law Enforcement Alliance, Mark Claxton, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.